What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I used to be paying. Today I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be telling you why MASA, or Make America Slime Again by NBA Youngboy, is everything wrong with current Youngboy. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Now, I'm actually going to be dropping this video a few days after I record it because I'm going on vacation for my birthday. So I'm probably going to spend my birthday vacation reading through a ton of NBA Youngboy fans hating on me. But it's okay. It's okay. The hate comments aren't bad. All attention's good attention, right? Shout out to 6ix9ine. But recently, NBA Youngboy dropped his first album since coming home from prison, and that is Make America Slime Again, or MASA. Now, this album is a huge deal because it's Youngboy's first album from home from prison, but it's also his first album without really any legal troubles, maybe ever, maybe ever at this point, and he can actually just drop the music and just kind of focus on that. But this album is also a big deal because it is the foundation to NBA Youngboy's first tour since 2019. And Youngboy fans have been clamoring for a live performance for years now at this point, and Youngboy has dropped a ton of classic songs and classic projects, if you ask his fans, since 2019. So people are super excited, and this album was supposed to be kind of like the rollout thing for the tour. This album was supposed to be the cherry on top, the whipped cream on top of your pancakes if you eat your pancakes that way. So when this album came out, there was a lot of hype surrounding it, and I first reacted to it live on stream on Twitch and Kick at I Used to Be Paid, shameless plug, but I wasn't really feeling it. I'm not gonna lie. After the first listen, I wasn't too high on the album. Now, after re-listening to it a few times, I am feeling a little bit better about it than I was in the beginning. But I will still say the flaws that we've had to go through with NBA Youngboy's music over the last few years or so are the exact same flaws that this album has. Everything that people have been complaining about since 2020 with Youngboy is something that you can complain about when it comes to MASA. First things first, this album is just way too bloated in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, but 30 songs on a project is just too much. I know that there are albums out there that have made it work in the past, and some of my favorite artists have done it and I liked it, but just in general, I feel like 30 songs as a principle is too much for an album. And I really do believe that this has become a major problem in the modern rap space because of the streaming services. That's the only reason why we see as many artists as we do today dropping these 30 song albums, these 25 plus song albums, because it's a streaming thing, you know, like the more songs you drop, the more opportunities you have to run up your streams. It's just simple math. Now, oftentimes there's diminishing returns with that, but still, people are dropping more and more songs on their albums because there's an opportunity to create bigger revenue. There's an opportunity to gain more streams. And 15 years ago, when people were still selling albums, even if it was online, even if it was through iTunes, you just bought the album. It was, you buy the album and that's one album sale, and that's it. You wipe your hands clean. You know, it didn't matter if the album was 12 songs or 25 songs. But nowadays, when you have streaming into effect and, okay, well, 1,300 streams is one album sale. If I drop an album with 15 songs, it doesn't have the opportunity to get the numbers that I want. So let's double it. Like, it's really just people playing the streaming game. And also paired up with that, Youngboy has always been an artist that drops a ton of music. That's always been a staple of his career, and it continues on this album. So when those two things combined, I feel like you just get a really oversized album with MASA. I just don't think it should be as big as it is. Honestly, I feel like you could cut this album, honestly, in half, and it probably becomes a much better album after you do that. There's just a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be here. There's just a lot of filler and extra fat on this album. This album does have some very good songs on it, though. Pretty much everyone loves the song Priorities, and that's probably the best song on the album. If not, it's pretty much widely considered at least to be top 3. Another song that's really good is Kickboxer. I love that song. And personally, my favorite at the moment is probably Slime Retta. And I think that with the songs that I do really like from this album, there's a common theme of like a little bit of an expansion outside of Youngboy's traditional production bag. Like, they're not super crazy sounding beats to where you don't hear them and like go, oh, there's no way this would ever go to Youngboy. You don't hear them and go, oh my gosh, I can't imagine Youngboy on this beat, but they're not within his typical bag because some of the production on this album does sound like a glorified NBA Youngboy type beat from YouTube. And these songs kind of step out of that, and I really do enjoy that on this project. Now, there is some stuff that is traditional Youngboy on here that I like, but still, I think that the overall theme that I got from this album was that Youngboy needs to expand his production bag. And that's something that I've been saying for a very long time now. I think Youngboy is an amazing artist. He's super versatile. He can do a ton of different things, but I think that his production really does cage him in a box sometimes. I really do feel like if there was a bit more creativity with the type of beats he picked or the type of beats he was given, we might see Youngboy elevate to a level that I really do believe he can hit. So whether that's Youngboy in his own beat selection, or maybe he's just not super picky and somebody else is picking the beats, either or, it doesn't matter. The main thing that I took away from this album is that Youngboy can really excel with different production, and he really needs to get into that. But then again, this is something that I've been saying for years now when it comes to him. In terms of performances on this album, for Youngboy, I think that this is a fairly average performance. Like, there are some songs where, he's given some really good bars, some great flows, and then there are some songs where it's just like your average Youngboy song. He's not really saying much of anything. He's not really rapping anything crazy. The flow is what you expect from Youngboy. So in terms of his rapping performances, it's hit or miss for the most part with the album. I'm not one of those Youngboy fans who says that I hate when he sings. There are a contingency of Youngboy fans who hate that, which is kind of crazy because that's a lot of his music at this point, especially on this album. And this is where I say I don't hate his singing, but it gets to a point. And I think that he sings a lot on this album. And the thing with Youngboy's singing is that he doesn't have a ton of range as a singer, and he also falls into very similar patterns when he sings. So at times, if he's singing over and over again, the songs can feel very repetitive, very same, like he's kind of doing the same thing over and over. This album is, in the most respectful way possible, really good, chill background music. I can see myself taking a long drive to a lot of the music on this album. I can already see myself doing my road trip in a few days or doing my road trip soon enough while listening to a song like Low. I can see it. There's a lot of really good late night driving music on this album, or like that time period in a party where like the party's not over, but it's winding down and people are leaving and, nobody's turned the lights on yet, but maybe you're starting to kind of put stuff away and get ready for the party to be over. And of course, this album wouldn't be a Youngboy album without the love songs on it, but personally, the one that really lands for me is If You Need Me. And outside of that, the rest just, they're just kind of there. When talking about the more lit songs of this album, you cannot ignore the elephant in the room that is Triple X or XXX, whatever you want to call it. That song is just objectively hilarious. Whether you hate the song or love the song, it's super funny. And honestly, I think that TikTok brain rot might actually be a real thing. It might be something that we are going to be able to diagnose in 15 years because I kind of like the song. Like, it's like I ironically, unironically enjoy the song. Like, it's so funny and unserious that I don't take it serious, but at the same time, it's fun. It's kind of fun, I can't lie. But I will say that song, Triple X, having the lyrics, whatever Trump do, it's good for the youngins, on a song titled, or on an album titled MASA, where the hook is him literally screaming sex and violence. Like, he's not rapping about sex and rapping about violence. No, he's screaming sex and violence is truly insane. It's truly a potion that only the CIA themselves could have dreamed of cooking up. Whatever Trump do is good for the youngins. Album titled MASA, sex and violence is the hook. Ronald Reagan is jealous that he did not think of this himself. But I will say, in terms of the other songs that I enjoy that are turn-up songs that I haven't already mentioned, I will say Diesel is a song that I really, really like, and it has a beat that's so Louisiana on it, it could bring Jello to tears, even though he's from Chino Hills, California. But regardless, and then MASA is another turn-up song that I like, and Get Up With Us is another turn-up song that I enjoy. If you know anything about me, though, you know that I love Playboi Carti, and I've been waiting for this Youngboy and Carti collab for what feels like years now at this point, but I can't lie, I'm not too crazy about Fire Your Manager. Like, it's a cool song, it's solid, it's decent, but I'm not jumping for joy. It's not one of my favorite Carti verses ever or one of my favorite Carti verses of the year. It's cool, it's alright, it's not bad. I would say that I prefer their other collab, Alive, even though that's not like an official song, I don't believe, or, it's Kanye's song or it's Carti's song, whoever's song it is, I prefer Alive over this song. And I know that might be controversial to some because a lot of people really didn't like that Carti verse. But for one, Youngboy went stupid on that song. Whether you like the Carti verse or not, you can't deny that Youngboy was spitting on Alive. But I actually do like that Carti verse a lot. So overall, I'm not super high on Fire Your Manager. It is solid, though. It's a decent collab. It's just nothing that I'm going to be constantly coming back to over the years. Like, man, this Carti and Youngboy song is so crazy. Overall, the reason that I say this album is everything wrong with modern day Youngboy is because if you're somebody that's been keeping up with Youngboy over the last 5 years or so, and you've ever had anything critical to say about him, it probably exists in this album. You can probably say that exact same critique specifically about this album. There's too much music. There's a lot of filler songs. A lot of the stuff sounds kind of mailed in terms of Youngboy's performance. The production as a whole is very much safe and stays within a box. It's not really testing Youngboy's limits. You can click through the album and hear a lot of similar sounding beats. I know I spoke about some of the songs that didn't sound like that, but still, that is a thing that exists throughout this music. There's not a lot of new information in this music. There's not a whole bunch of new topics. There's not a crazy new sound. It just feels kind of like run-of-the-mill Youngboy. And overall, I would say that the album just feels a bit stagnant. It's a bit, not everything that you would really want. This being his first album since coming home from prison and eventually being the album that is going to lead him into this tour, the first tour is since 2019, it's a bit disappointing. It's not this huge triumphant return where, oh my gosh, Youngboy's taking over the rap game. All you rappers go hide because Youngboy's back. The king is back. Oh my gosh. Like, it's not that. It's just, it's aight. I really do hate giving albums number ratings because oftentimes I feel like I give one album a number rating and then like eventually I get to like another album 2 years later and I end up giving that the same number rating, but I feel completely different about those two albums. So I try not to do that as a whole, but if you were to ask me what my rating is for this album, I would say it's alright. It's cool. Like, it's solid. Like, it's not a bad album, don't get me wrong. There is some good music on here, but overall, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing to where, like, if you didn't listen to it, you're missing something in this modern rap space. Like, you gotta go listen to it. And even some of the best songs on this album, I feel like are kind of inconsequential to Youngboy's career as a whole. Like, I feel like this album, it definitely doesn't crack my top 5 Youngboy projects, and honestly, it might not even crack my top 10 Youngboy projects. But then again, you got to think about it, Youngboy has like 30 albums, so me saying it's not top 10 isn't the same as me saying, it's not a top 10 album for like Kanye, where he has like 12, you know what I mean? So me saying it's top 10, it's probably like, or not top 10, it's probably somewhere in the middle of the road when it comes to Youngboy projects. But honestly, when I'm talking about Youngboy in 15 years and I'm reflecting on his career, or maybe he's still rapping at that point in time, but when I'm talking about Youngboy's career in retrospect, I don't feel like this will be an album where I'm talking about it a whole bunch. It's probably just going to be a footnote. It's not something that I'm going to stress on as great or that I'm going to talk about where, man, Youngboy really missed the mark here. It's going to be something where somebody probably mentions it and I go, oh yeah, I do remember that album. That's the Sex and Violence album. That's probably how I personally will end up remembering this project. The ultimate measure that I had for myself when it comes to this album, and that I'll pose to you as well and see how you feel, is I personally would not care if Youngboy didn't perform a single song from MASA on this tour. Like, I would not care if he didn't do it. Now, of course, there's stuff on here that I would like to hear perform. There's good music on here, don't get me wrong, that I would love to hear in concert, specifically XXX. I think that would be crazy. But like Diesel and things of that nature, Kickboxer, Priorities, there's great songs on here. But overall, if he were to come to my city and perform all of the stuff that he's dropped since 2019 without going through the MASA discography, I wouldn't care. Now, that is a bit unfair because, again, he hasn't performed in 6 years, and Youngboy drops all the time. So he's dropped a ton of music between 2019 and 2025. So for me to say that I wouldn't care for this album not being included is a bit unfair because he's dropped so much great music in this time span. But overall, I just feel like for this to be the album that's leading into this huge tour and this big deal, this album it just doesn't move me. I think that this album as a whole is a bit reminiscent of Youngboy's music since like the latter half of 2023. It's decent, it's bloated, and it's kind of underwhelming. But if you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Let me know, what you think of this album. Do you like MASA? Are you high on MASA? Overall, it just kind of exists for me. It's cool. If you want to listen to it, I say go listen to it if you're a Youngboy fan. But if you're asking me, am I missing something if I don't listen to this album? I'm probably going to say no. I would still say go to his tour, though. But regardless, if you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.